Hey, y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murder sometime this week.
End of the week.
End of the week.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
Hey, you.
Hey, girl.
What's up?
You know.
Do I?
The price of groceries. Shit. I don't know.
Everything's up.
How are you this end of the week?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I've had a little bit of a rough past couple of days.
Oh, yeah?
Just feeling a little down in the dumps.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed.
Trying to drag myself up out of this pit of despair.
I'm just kidding. I can tell you're not been quite yourself. And so I'm here to bring you some joy on this
Dylan,
episode.
Like you, I just have to remind myself it's not real.
It's not real.
It's just my brain.
It's just your brain.
My brain's my enemy.
Your brain's being an asshole.
It's true. This too shall pass.
No, it's okay. Hey, we all deal with that, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of folks do.
And I think part of the problem nowadays is that there's so much sugar coating going on. And, you know, people leave these kind of fake lives on social media. And sometimes people don't want to, hey, sometimes you're not okay. But that's okay.
No, it's true. But I think for every creator that's curating this image of like, everything is perfect, you do have real, authentic people who are in the struggle and let you know they are, and they share their issues and their feelings, and so it does provide a sense of community for some.
Well, yeah. No, I
to
agree with
realize
that.
Hey, we're kind of all in the same boat.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we suck at podcasting because we're depressed.
It's true. But you know what, Dylan? I've been trying to get my shit together, and I have a very fascinating, just intriguing case to bring you this week.
Oh, yeah. You've been working hard on that.
I have been working hard on it, and we're going to be doing a deep dive because it's a really important part of the story, and I think our listeners are going to find it, again, very intriguing.
I think that's just going to be a big old fat juicy episode.
Now, one thing I am excited about, Dylan, is spooky season.
It is almost time.
Fall is in the air.
We decided, or I decided for us, you know what I mean. No, we were talking the other day, and we're just going to lean into Halloween and fall this year.
We did last year. We decorated, and it was really fun.
And I think it's just a fun time of year. You know, you're transitioning out of the hot summer days into nice, cool fall evenings. You know, pumpkin spice is in the air, and you can't wait for winter.
I haven't had a pumpkin spice. Do you think this weekend you can buy me a pumpkin spice coffee?
Well, yeah.
To like mark the occasion.
I think so. I'll check our finances and we'll see if we can work it in.
Yay! I can have a $5 cup of coffee.
Yes. You know, it's funny how things change, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I will allow it. I will let you have one.
Thank you.
But I want a couple of sups.
Ew.
I want to taste it.
Stop saying sups.
Why?
What are you, 5?
What?
Like you little country kid, it's 5. Can I have a sup?
Can I sup that Mountain Dew,
yeah,
Mama?
Go get a sup out the water hose, Dylan. I must say.
Can I get some more Mountain Dew in my sippy cup, Mama?
I did find a great selection of Halloween decor at the Dollar Tree.
Nah, look, this
For
was...
$1.25, they have some cool shit.
This was like...
Y'all got to go check it out if you've got a Dollar Tree near you.
No, but this was like Platinum Series Dollar Tree Halloween decor.
Dude, it's some good stuff,
it's
right?
Quality. I would say that cost no less than $3, yet it was $1.25. Right?
Found some good stuff.
Okay.
I'm ready to decorate.
I already started.
All right, Dylan, since it is spooky season, I had the marvelous idea that for the next couple of weeks leading us into Halloween, we could dedicate our midweeks to discussing all things scary, creepy, spooky, frightening.
Oh.
Fucked up.
Ooh. Gross.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe sticky.
Sticky. Yeah.
Because I know you love when things are sticky.
Well, see, I was trying to think about how to lead that back around to sticky, and you worked it in there. Candy sticky.
Right. So if you saw the title of today's episode, then you know what we're going to be discussing. Zombies. Zombie.
Don't do that. Don't do that to the Cranberries.
Ooh.
It's not the best audio.
It's really good. What are you talking about? I'm great at that.
I love that song. That's a great karaoke song that people, just scream into the mic. No, but zombies are really truly iconic in our society.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about a lot of different aspects of zombies today. Would you like to get started, Dylan?
Let's do it.
Well, the concept of zombies has fascinated people for centuries, intertwining with folklore, religious traditions, and pop culture. While the modern zombie we recognize today, usually portrayed in films and TV shows as reanimated corpses that crave human flesh, that's largely been shaped by 20th century media. But its origins are deeply rooted in a number of cultures. One specifically that we will dive into today is Haitian culture and voodoo practices. We're going to talk about some historical accounts of real zombies. So, again, we're going to get into the history, some of the connections to voodoo, and some real-life stories. We'll talk about some zombie movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many.
And zombies in different cultures. Let's get started with talking about some of the global zombie folklore, Dylan. All right. Let's talk about Haiti. The Haitian Voodoo, or Vodou. It's like Vodou. I guess we take voodoo from that. The modern idea of the zombie largely comes from Haiti, where a zombie is a corpse revived through magical means, typically by a bokor, which is a sorcerer. In this tradition, zombies are not mindless flesh eaters, but are reanimated to serve the bokor's commands. This concept stems from deep cultural and historical roots in slavery, where losing one's autonomy symbolized ultimate horror. Haitian zombies are a metaphor for a life devoid of freedom or will, symbolizing the fear of enslavement, even in death.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Even that concept is pretty horrifying. To know that someone's taken control of you, made you their slave or their servant, but even after you're dead, they can bring you back and make you continue to serve them and do their bidding.
Like what if somebody made me come back and just do dishes?
Well, yeah.
That would be awful. I hate dishes.
I make you come back and go work your shitty job for no pay.
That's what's wrong
No
now.
benefits.
That's what you feel like now sometimes.
Predatory capitalism.
A zombie.
I do feel like a zombie.
Because you got all these weird hours. All you do is sleep.
I'm a blue-collar zombie.
It's true.
Yeah, just you see the zombies stumbling around with their monster drinks and their nicotine patches. Brains.
That zombie was wearing a bright day-glow orange
Yeah, well,
vest.
he's got to wear his reflective gear. Proper PPP or proper PPE for the zombie.
In China, we have the Chinese Jiangxi, which means hopping vampires.
Oh.
In Chinese folklore, the Jiangxi, often referred to as the hopping vampire, is a type of reanimated corpse. These creatures are often portrayed as stiff, decaying bodies that move by hopping due to rigor mortis. They suck the life force out of living beings rather than consuming flesh. The Jiangxi myths are linked to the fear of improper burial or unclean death rituals, where the restless spirits could cause harm to the living.
Oh, God. I just realized that you described my ex. She was a Jiangxi.
She does look a little bit like a reanimated corpse.
Damn, she was sucking the life out of everybody around her, that's for sure.
I think that's just called mental illness, bud.
You old bitch.
I think that's called a significant personality disorder.
She's one of them old hopping vampires. Why is that a scary thought?
Her face is the scary
All
thought.
right.
Okay.
Oh, that's enough of that.
Well, that's true.
She's
She's got that whole meth face.
Faces of meth.
Faces, it's like,
I'm gonna make
yes,
that movie.
you could.
No, that's not. Look, anyone out there struggling with a meth addiction, stop being an asshole.
Stop doing it.
Just stop.
It's bad.
It's bad.
You're going to look crazy.
You're going to be one of them old hopping vampires from over there in China.
All right, Dylan. In Norse mythology, we have the Dragur, which I'm assuming is how you say that.
Say it again.
Dragur.
Where is this at?
Norse mythology.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think you got it. Pretty good.
The Dragur is an undead creature that guards its burial mound or treasure. Dragar possess immense strength, can shapeshift, and bring sickness to those they haunt. Unlike modern zombies, they retain intelligence and a sense of purpose, often driven by greed or vengeance. These beings can be seen as an expression of the Viking belief in an afterlife and the power of the dead to influence the living world.
Damn. See, and that makes sense because I think it was common practice to kind of bury you with your riches, right? The hoards. I mean, is that a Norse thing, right?
I thought they did like the Viking burials where they put them on a
Oh, would they burn you?
pyre and all that,
Okay.
or float you out to sea and burn you, or no?
No.
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, you can tell we're Norse experts here at Mountain Murders.
I know a little bit about it, but not enough.
I guess it depends on what.
You always act like I'm an expert on everything.
Well, you tell me everything I need to know and do. So,
But you don't listen.
Well,
Because I'll say, like, be quiet, and you don't.
you still give me strong suggestions.
Okay. Let's talk about various traditions in African folklore. Many African cultures have their versions of the undead or spirit creatures. For example, in some West African traditions, the dead may return as spirits to haunt the living or even as reanimated bodies. These tales often deal with the themes of justice, morality, and revenge. The African origins of zombie lore are also tied to the history of enslavement, with the concept of being physically present but mentally absent, paralleling the horrors of forced labor.
Oh, okay.
Then in Europe, especially medieval Europe, the idea of the dead returning to life was expressed through revenants, corpses that rose from their graves to harm the living. These beings were often blamed for plagues or other misfortunes. Revenants differ from modern zombies as they were frequently associated with vampires due to their blood drinking habits and were not considered to be mindless. Revenant legends were often rooted in fears of disease, death, and improper burial. You have to stop looking at Rufus. Look at me.
I'm so cool.
Oh. He's doing a little thing where he like wallers his little spot.
He went to my clothes there and was like, oh, them clothes look halfway clean.
Well, Dylan, if you would put your clothes away instead of leaving your laundry piled up there.
I'll leave them there for him. I love him.
He just wallers on your clothes, and then I have to refold them. You know, those clothes have been there for like 3 days.
I know. I was thinking, look at him.
Just come on, snap back.
Okay.
We're recording, bud. Yes, like that. Japanese gashadokuro.
Okay.
Now, Japan has many ghosts and spirit legends, many which are very frightening and creepy, can we just say?
Dude, the Japanese with the monsters and the spirit, man, some of it's very terrifying. Some of the manga, books and the animes are just freaking, it's like, who even thought this up? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I recently watched Ichi the Killer.
Yeah.
Which is directed by Takashi Miike. He's a Japanese director. And that's a pretty brutal film. Like, if you want to see some gore.
It's hardcore.
Check it out, dude.
Yes, very famous manga.
Well, while the country doesn't have a direct equivalent of the Western zombie, some creatures resemble the undead. The Gashadokuro is a giant skeletal figure said to be made from the bones of those who died in battle or famine. These spirits, filled with rage and suffering, seek to devour the living. This myth reflects the Japanese cultural focus on spirits and ancestors, as well as the consequences of war and suffering. Now let's talk about South Americans El Nahual. And I'm no expert here, so I know I'm butchering it.
We're apologizing to all these civilizations.
And I try, folks. I can't help. I'm country as hell. In Mexican and Central American folklore, the Nahual is a
Shamanistic.
Yeah.
Shamalavading-dong.
Yeah, it's that figure who can transform into an animal or spiritual entity. While not explicitly zombies, some Nahuals are believed to have the power to raise the dead or manipulate corpses. These myths are intertwined with pre-Columbian beliefs about life, death, and the spiritual realm. So as you can see, some of these myths go back, pre-Columbian, that's thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So these are deeply rooted in civilization and society dating back thousands of years.
Well, and it doesn't surprise me that you have all these variations of kind of similar takes on being reanimated from being dead. And it's like me and you were talking about the other day. It's what's so scary. It's almost like it's relatable when you talk about death or mortality, because it's you can't avoid it. You know what I mean? It's unavoidable. Everyone's going to do it. Some people worry about it more than others. I don't really worry.
I was going to ask you, do you think about death? Do you have these like existential dread about your death or life ending? I mean, is that something you think about very often?
I don't, actually. Do you?
On occasion. I'm not going to say it's something that like plagues me all the time.
Like some weeks more so than
but
others.
I do have like intrusive thoughts all the time. But I guess on occasion it does hit me like, wait a minute, you could die like right now,
Wow.
And then I start thinking, and it's not even so much about like the thought of dying and, whatever. It's more about realizing the goals I haven't met or things that I want to do that I haven't accomplished. And like, oh my gosh, I could die tomorrow and I've never seen the Great Wall of China, or
oh yeah,
I've never been to Alaska, things like that.
Okay.
I've never bought a house. I probably never will. I'm poor. Help me, I'm poor. I'm just saying.
I mean, do you even want to own a house in this economy?
I don't know. Because then I have to figure out where I want the house to be. And so far, I haven't really lived in a place where I'm like, I want to buy a house here.
Yeah, I like having a landlord because it's almost like you got a friend who checks in on you every month
and takes care of all the stuff that breaks. Yeah.
It's like having a friend you don't really talk to.
The only thing, I guess, when I think about owning a home is just the ability to be able to do whatever I want to the house.
Right.
So if I want to paint every room black and put up a razor wire fence around the property.
You could.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I want like 10 of those 20 feet tall, like Home Depot skeletons.
Oh, dude.
I can go put those all around my property.
You'll see one of those, sometimes maybe two. But what if you had like 15
I know,
of them?
Right?
And they were like in like battle poses and stuff.
Yeah.
With swords.
What if you just had them like kind of lined up so it's almost like an entrance to your home? Like they're all making an archway with their little skeleton arms.
Bruh, you could do the Darwin evolution thing with them.
You could.
Oh, dude, that'd be cool.
Yeah, you could put them in sexual positions.
I wonder what people would say.
I don't know.
If you had the skeletons banging
I'll
each
know,
other.
but I'll be like, it's my property, bitch. Fuck off.
Like, you can go and get the city council down here, you son bitch.
Yeah.
They're going to stay doggy
I'm
style.
going to get my 15 minutes of fame over here, okay? We're doing every pose from the Kama Sutra. This week, it's the squatting lotus.
15-foot skeletons in sexual positions.
Yes.
That's
every
sick.
week, I'm telling you, every week you put them in a different Kama Sutra position.
Yeah. Wow. That would be awesome.
I've got a lot of ideas, Dylan.
And see, these are the
my mind is a creative and
these are the goals she's not met.
Scary play. Yes. See? This is why I need constant supervision and a limited amount of funding.
Yes.
All right. The Indian Vatala. In Hindu mythology, the Vatala is a spirit that inhabits corpses, making them rise and move. Unlike zombies, Vatalas are often intelligent and can possess and leave a body at will. They are considered malevolent beings, causing harm or manipulating humans. The Vatala myth is tied to the Indian belief in reincarnation and the soul's journey after death. So I think it's pretty interesting to see how different cultures view this idea of a zombie or like a reanimation.
Yeah, it's almost shows how they have different views of death and the afterlife and things like that.
So let's get into a little bit more. Let's talk about like the history of zombies, and then we're going to go more into the Haitian religion, voodoo religion. I don't know if I guess it would be considered like a religion, right? A practice of voodoo.
Well, and that's where you get your accounts of real life zombies.
Well, the idea of undead or reanimated corpses, as we've just discussed, dates back thousands of years, though the exact form the zombies forms they take varies from culture to culture. Some of the early examples of zombie-like creatures are found in ancient myths, such as the Sumerian Epic of Gilgamesh, where gods threatened to unleash the dead to devour the living. The ancient Greeks also had stories of the revenants, beings that would return from the dead with evil intentions. And these stories persisted in various forms throughout the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Now, the word zombie itself has a more specific etymological and cultural origin. The term is believed to come from the Congo word Nzambi, which means God or spirit of a dead person. So when African slaves were brought to the Caribbean, including Haiti, they brought with them these spiritual beliefs, which eventually merged with indigenous and European influences, resulting in the religious tradition of voodoo, which, as we know in English, is commonly spelled Voodoo, but is known as Vodou in Haiti.
Oh, okay.
So the most famous association with zombies comes from Haiti, where the belief in zombies is tied closely to the practice of voodoo. In Haitian voodoo, zombies are not flesh-eating monsters, but believed to be revived from the dead, as we mentioned, the Bokur or the sorcerer. And these zombified individuals are brought under control of the Bokur, who uses them for like manual labor. Their souls are said to be captured and imprisoned, and it just turns them into these mindless, soulless beings.
Yes, dude. You can watch the movie The Serpent and the Rainbow.
We're going to talk a little bit about that movie, actually.
And it really, that freaked me out.
That movie was fucking freaky, right?
Yeah, but it gives you a really good look at what you mean by you basically bring someone back to serve you and do your bidding. You know? It's not like a George A. Romero zombie.
No.
Which is dope.
Like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about that book and talk about George Romero, some of the zombie films.
Oh, man.
So a key element in this belief is the creation of so-called zombie powder. One of the most prominent figures in researching this phenomenon is ethnobotanist Wade Davis, who studied Haitian Voodoo in the 1980s. Davis wrote the book, The Serpent and the Rainbow, which chronicles his experiences investigating real-life accounts of zombification. Davis claimed that certain Bokurs used a powder primarily derived from pufferfish toxins, tetrodotoxin. I'm no scientist here. Which can induce a death-like state in the victim. According to his research, a person poisoned with this powder would appear to die and be buried, only to later be exhumed by the Bokur. The victim would then be administered additional drugs or herbs, leaving them in a state of compliance, memory loss, and limited willpower. Essentially, they would become a zombie. That's scary.
Dude, the fact, I had no idea that the movie The Serpent and the Rainbow was based on a book of a man who had like kind of real life accounts of this type of thing.
Well, although Davis's research was initially lauded, his findings have been met with skepticism over time, as many of his conclusions about the use of toxins were questioned by other scientists and anthropologists. Nonetheless, it brought wider attention to the links between Haitian voodoo, zombification, and some real-life stories of zombies. So, Dylan, we have several cases in Haiti that have been documented over the centuries, leading to claims of real-life zombification.
No, it sounds to me like the powder actually puts you kind of in a state of suspended animation where it gives the appearance of you being dead. They could go so far as to bury you and everything, and then the Bokur and his cohorts come back and dig you up and kind of make you their slave by continuing to intoxicate you with the various other drugs.
That's what happened with me. You intoxicate me with some drug that keeps me enslaved to you, Dylan.
That's right. It's called the X Factor.
Oh, baby.
And I got it.
So we're going to talk about our first case here. Clairvius Narcisse, one of the most famous alleged zombie cases in Haiti. Clairvius Narcisse was declared dead by two physicians at the Albert Schweitzer Hospital in 1962. He was buried, but 18 years later, he reappeared in his village, claiming that he had been turned into a zombie by a Bokur and forced to work on a sugar plantation. Narcisse said he was given substances that put him in a death-like coma before being revived. The case was investigated by Davis, who used it as a central part of his work in The Serpent and the Rainbow. Now, Dylan, I must say, my grandparents, well, actually my great-grandparents, they were big Reader's Digest folks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they had like a book collection that very intriguing as a child, you know, because I'll admit my parents, we didn't really have books in the house.
Wait, so their book collection was a bunch of Reader's Digest or just all kinds of other
They
books?
had a lot of books, but I'm saying they always had Reader's Digest. They always had the newspaper. And as a kid, I was an avid reader. And so when I would go to their house, I was just like, woo, because there was all these different books. And they had a huge collection of books that were Reader's Digest books.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And some of the books would be novels, like The Invisible Man. I remember was one that I read as a kid, you know. But they had a book, and it was like a Reader's Digest book, and it was called like Mysteries of the World.
Oh, okay.
And I have to say, every time I went down there, I would grab this book and start looking through, and it had all this cool, like creepy, weird stuff. And I feel like it kind of contributed to my interest, my dark interest today. But there was a whole story about this guy, Clairvius Narcisse.
Yes, it's a very famous story.
Yeah, and I remember reading this as a kid and just being absolutely like mesmerized by the story.
Well, just the idea of it creeps you out. It creeps me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone having that kind of control over you. And be like, you can't even leave me alone when I'm dead. Now I got to go do manual labor on a sugar plantation? I mean, come on. That sucks.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to be washing dishes in my kitchen or washing somebody else's dishes. That sucks.
You hate dishes.
Let me live. I do hate dishes.
You hate washing dishes.
God, I hate it.
I could wash dishes for a living.
I'd do anything but wash the dishes.
I like getting the greasy film off the dishes.
I hate it. Hate it.
And you know what? I got to say, I'm going to admit something. 6 years into our marriage.
I'm not good at it either.
You do not do a good job of washing dishes.
Because I hate it.
I'll find things that still have like food.
That's from the dishwasher.
No, hold on a second,
No.
Heather. Hold on.
That's true.
You don't get all the grease off. If we have spaghetti or something, and you know how spaghetti can be.
Then you wash the fucking dishes.
You don't get all the grease off the dishes because you don't put that elbow grease in there. You don't have that. You don't have any heart in your dishwasher.
I hate it. Well, you know what? Your laundry's been sitting there for days.
Hey, don't bring that up.
I'm just saying. We all have our weaknesses.
I don't care to put clothes.
And our strengths.
I don't care to put clothes away.
Yeah, I've noticed. I've noticed.
But I washed the hell out of some dishes.
I went in there today and reorganized all of my drawers, folded everything, organized, and then I just left your piles of shit where they are.
I'm going to get them tomorrow.
I've heard that before.
Never do today what you can put off till tomorrow.
See, we need to zombify you and make you do your chores.
I feel like my zombie Dylan would still have attitude and be sassy. He'd be like, I'm a sassy
Basically, what you're telling me is he'd still be lazy.
I'm a sassy zombie.
I love how you say things to me like, I don't ever get to sit around and relax and watch TV, and that's like literally all you do when you're home.
No, but I never do. I mean, I couldn't even binge a whole series. It would take me a year. Are you kidding me?
That's not true. You've been watching that Shogun series and you finished
I had to literally like watch it like at
God, it took you like a week to watch it.
Dude, it was weeks.
It's horrible.
I would have to watch it at maybe my little half-hour lunch break, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of time to expect someone to enjoy their lunch. I need like 3 or 4 hours for a lunch break. It's ridiculous.
We should move to Europe.
And, at the gym for 15 minutes on the treadmill, the toilet.
Well, then you need... one thing is you spend way more time on the toilet. I know you could at least watch half an episode on the toilet because you in there all the damn time and you slow as hell. Because I'll be like, is he still alive in that bathroom? Like, I don't even know what you're doing in there.
I'm just chilling.
I believe it.
What?
I know you love to hang out in the bathroom.
Well,
and if
it's
you're not
comfortable.
chilling, then you're in there like primping. So I get it.
It's a comfortable toilet.
Like taking 3 hours to shave because I'll be like, what are you doing? I'm shaving. And I'm like, how long does it take you to shave? Anywho, you spend a lot of time grooming and relaxing is all I'm saying.
I try to be a man of leisure, but I can't.
And then you complain constantly that you don't get to leisure enough. And I just don't believe it. So anyway, I'm going to zombify you so you do some damn housework. We're going to talk about Felicia Felix Mentor, another famous case, which was documented by Zora Neale Hurston during her fieldwork in Haiti. Involved a woman named Felicia Felix Mentor. She was said to have died in 1907, but was seen wandering her village 30 years later in a daze, in like this disoriented state.
My gosh, that's a long time.
Her family and other villagers believed she'd been turned into a zombie, like with Narcisse. This case kind of helped fuel the belief that zombification was a real thing. Now, these stories have been recounted by witnesses, medical professionals, and anthropologists, but it still kind of blends some of the myth with folklore and maybe some of the real pharmacological effects.
Yeah.
To explain like how this could happen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Instead of just you're able to you're not the reanimator, you're able to like just bring someone back from the dead.
Man, just imagine if they can actually do that. They'd only bring like the gross people back. The people that people's like glad they're dead. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
So when they bring them back, they're still dead though, right? So then are they going to be walking around all like decaying and shit?
Looking like Madonna. Oh my gosh, she's a zombie.
I don't know what's going on with her. And I used to be a huge fan.
No, I love Madonna.
But I'm just
like, girl.
I'm deeply troubled by her these days.
I'm just like, sit down, go relax with your hundreds of millions of dollars and know that you were an icon and you changed things and you broke glass ceilings and you did all these things.
Please stop pumping your face full of shit. You look Asian. She does. It's weird. And I know there are people who want to argue and say, well, that's ageist.
Well, that's nothing against.
But I think it's ageist that the bitch won't age. The fact that she's so anti-aging is ageist because it's like she's the one that's got the problem with people getting old and herself getting old. Like, just fucking get old, Madonna.
And that was no offense to our Asian listeners.
They even know she looks Asian, bud.
Yeah, and they don't claim her.
No, the Asian community claimed the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, that's right.
During the racial draft, not Madonna. Ain't nobody claiming her. Okay? Nobody. So while zombies are deeply rooted in Haitian voodoo and real-life accounts of zombification, the portrayal of zombies in like pop culture, especially Western culture, has evolved into something different. So we have the modern zombie archetype, which is the reanimated corpses that crave human flesh.
Brains.
Yeah, they spread through bites and are often a metaphor for societal collapse. And a lot of this owes its origins to a director you mentioned, Dylan, George A. Romero. His 1968 film, Night of the Living Dead, big deal.
It was a big deal.
And for a lot of reasons. It was like the first horror movie that had a leading man that was an African-American man.
Yeah.
And he's like the hero of the movie.
He's kicking ass.
So that was groundbreaking for the time.
And there was like a kind of sexual tension between him and the white lead actress.
And it's
right?
it's a good movie too.
No, it's a great movie.
Barbara.
They're coming to get you, Barbara. No,
So-
it's a great movie. It's iconic, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, it was had many aspects to it that were kind of groundbreaking. And yeah, I'm sure younger people might watch it nowadays and think, "Oh, this is cheesy" or whatever. But I thought it built tension in a very well. For one, it being black and white, I think works really well, and it built tension. Just I think it just goes to something kind of primal in us when you have this kind of horde of things that are hard to kill.
Well, it's scary because it gives you that very unsettling sense of the unknown because it's not super focused on like these gruesome, like gross, scary zombies. It's more about the part you don't see.
Right.
Like the banging on the doors and shit that makes it, in my opinion, terrifying.
It lets your mind run.
Yeah, because a lot of times in horror, it's the films that show like it's less is more, like the films that show you the least amount of gore sometimes are the scariest movies.
So it's just like that. We watched a movie recently called The Zone of Interest.
Oh, yeah.
And it was about the Holocaust, or specifically Auschwitz. And it's basically the commandant who controls Auschwitz living.
Rudolf Haas.
He's living just outside the camp with his family. And then they've created this idyllic, like beautiful garden and life for them and their children.
Swimming pool.
But they're right outside this horror factory, basically. And they never show, and this was masterfully done in this movie. They never really show the poor victims in the camps or anything like that. You just hear it here and there in like the distance or in their discussions.
See smoke.
Yeah.
You might see a prisoner.
Or you might ashes maybe lightly in the air, literal ash from
on
bodies
occasion
being
you hear
burned.
Dogs and like a gunshot. You might hear a scream.
Or in casual conversations amongst ourselves, the family and friends would say just these horrific fucking things. Like they're basically taking items and stuff from these victims. And I mean, it's just masterfully built that same kind of what you're describing. It just lets your mind run wild and your imagination as to what is actually going on in the camp and stuff like that. Very good movie, Zone of Interest. Check it out. I mean, it's horrifying, but just the what it's about.
No, it's a really well done movie. It's probably one of the better films I've seen in a minute. Now, Romero's zombies were not tied to magic or religion, but were instead the result of vague, unidentified phenomenon. His movies added layers of political and social commentary, and this new kind of zombie exploded into mainstream culture. It inspired decades of films, TV shows, comics, video games.
Billions of dollars, all kinds of IP, intellectual property tied to that. And one more, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. One more point I was going to make is it's also the way it spreads, like through the bites or whatever. Then you turn into one of them. That's also, I think, goes into kind of the heart of humans' fears. You have this unknown, uncontrollable thing,
contagion,
but that you'll become part of it if they get you. You know what I'm saying? And to know you're seeing these horrid wretches, rotting creature things, they're just totally disgusting. But if they get you, you're going to turn into one of them and you're going to be like that. It's psychologically terrifying.
It's really scary. So today's zombies are part of a larger horror genre. And we see their depiction focusing on themes of like the apocalypse, plague, a loss of individuality. The things you mentioned, Dylan, like you're going to become contaminated. You're going to become part of this horde. You're going to like lose yourself. And it's pretty scary, I think, for most people to think about. So there's some scientific explanations for zombie-like behavior. Are you ready to talk about some of this? And then we'll get into some of the like zombie movies that are most iconic.
Yeah.
Okay. So in addition to the tetrodotoxin theory that was put forth by Wade Davis, there are some other medical and psychological explanations for a zombie phenomenon. One is catatonic schizophrenia. It's a rare form of schizophrenia characterized by periods of immobility or trance-like states, which might mimic behaviors of a zombie.
Oh, wow.
There's also sleeping sickness, trypanosomoea. You guys get the idea.
Just call it sleeping sickness.
We're going to call it sleeping sickness. I know, I'm goofy. This disease caused by the tsetse fly can cause individuals to fall into a near-death coma, which may have influenced some of the early zombie myths. Then there are psychotropic substances like hallucinogenics and psychoactive drugs, such as datura, which is used in traditional voodoo rituals. It can induce zombie-like behavior in people. It impairs their memory, their cognition. So let's talk about some of the zombie films that really have transformed Hollywood, right? And our idea of zombies.
There's so many.
Well, White Zombie is probably one of the first movies to ever depict a zombie. It's a 1932 film directed by Victor Halperin. It's widely considered the first feature-length zombie movie. It stars Bela Lugosi. The movie centers on a woman who is turned into a zombie by a voodoo master in Haiti. In White Zombie, zombies are not the flesh-eating monsters of modern lore, but rather people whose will has been stolen, which again is a reflection of that traditional Haitian concept of zombification. There's a 1943 film called I Walked with a Zombie, directed by Jacques Tourneur. This film is another example of early zombie cinema. It's also influenced by the Haitian Voodoo mythology. It tells the story of a nurse who travels to the Caribbean to care for a woman who is seemingly under this voodoo curse. The zombies here are depicted more as victims of spiritual enslavement than bloodthirsty monsters. And then, as we mentioned, we've got George A. Romero, who redefined zombies in film.
Yeah. See that
absolutely, he's the zombie master.
Well, you can see early on it was tied back to these legends and old voodoo and things like that from Haitian culture. He took it in a whole nother direction.
I mean, he really did. It was a groundbreaking film. It stripped away the supernatural and religious elements of the early zombie cinema and replaced them with this existential horror because, again, it's this unknown phenomenon that causes the dead to rise and attack the living. Then we have this concept of you become bitten by zombies and you become a zombie yourself. The film's low budget and gritty style, combined with its depiction of raw violence and then the social commentary, because it did have issues like race that it kind of put in the forefront of the film. So it made it a landmark in horror cinema. However, Romero didn't use the word zombie in the film, even though it's clear he redefined the creature. He never once calls this undead or the living dead zombies.
No.
Which is kind of cool. Then, of course, we have 2 more films by Romero. We have Dawn of the Dead, 1978.
Dude.
And Day of the Dead in 1985.
Dawn of the Dead, I believe, is the one where they're in the mall. They're stuck. They've held up in that mall trying to survive.
It is. It's set in a shopping mall.
Dude.
It's often seen as a commentary on mindless consumerism.
There's a scene where a helicopter's running and a zombie walks up and the blade cuts the top of his head off.
Yes.
Dude. And I guess this would be one of the bigger early on successes of what's his face, the special effects guy, Savini.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, I would say probably Halloween was maybe one of his first.
Oh, but he
was. He's a horror master,
dude.
Practical effects guy.
So many good scenes in Dawn of the Dead. They've remade it, which was okay, but this is it's iconic.
Well, Day of the Dead explores more themes of like science, ethics, and survivalism. These films cemented the concept of a zombie apocalypse in which society collapses under the weight of a zombie outbreak, and then the survivors are left to fend for themselves in this increasingly hostile world. The zombies in these films are slow. They're just mindless creatures. And most of the real horror comes from the breakdown of human civilization and the savagery that ensues, and I think shows that humans are the real monsters.
That's always the case.
Yeah.
I mean, Walking Dead, they started out early on. It was all about, fighting, and they never used the word zombie either. They call them walkers or whatever. But it quickly turns to the undead are in the background, and it's other people that are the most dangerous. That's who you have to really look out for.
And while zombies remained a staple of B movies throughout the 80s and 90s, they started to experience a massive resurgence in the popularity around the early 2000s. And this renaissance was marked by a shift in the portrayal of the zombies. They became faster, more aggressive, and then there was a stronger focus on those post-apocalyptic narratives. So I would say the film that really brought zombies to more of like the mainstream.
I know what you're going to say.
2002's 28 Days Later.
Dude, 28 Days Later, once again, they redefined what the zombie can be. Because for years we had this slow lumbering, you can kind of run through them and push them down and, whatever. You got to get them in the head or, all that. To a terrifying... with the speed that you transform if you get infected, and the fact that you didn't even have to be directly bitten if you basically come into contact with the blood for the most part. If it got into any of your mucous membranes, including your eyes, or there's one big scene where it drips into one guy's eye.
Don't snot on me, man.
It drips in his eye, and he knows he's going to change, and he's like pushing his daughter away. I mean, it's just tearing at your heart too at the same time as being terrifying. But the speed, the fast. Like it takes all you can do just to barely, get away from. That was fucking terrifying.
No, it's a great movie. It was directed by Danny Boyle, who's a British filmmaker. He also directed Trainspotting. I mean, I really like Danny Boyle. I think he's a great director. So he reimagined the zombie, as you mentioned, Dylan, as like this fast-moving, rage-fueled monster. And though technically not undead, the infected in 28 Days Later are driven by a virus that turns them into mindless killers. So this film really helped reinvigorate the genre. It paved the way for a new generation of zombie films. And I think it also kind of reflected on some of the post 9/11 anxieties about pandemics, terrorism, societal collapse. Then we have 2004's Dawn of the Dead. It's Zack Snyder's remake of the Romero classic, Dawn of the Dead. It featured fast zombies similar to those in 28 Days Later and a higher emphasis on action. This film was part of a growing trend of these faster, more aggressive zombies in the 2000s, which allowed for more intense and thrilling sequences in the film.
Right, more fast-paced.
Not like the slow burn of Night of the Living Dead. And then in 2004, we had Shaun of the Dead, which was a comedic take on the genre. Shaun of the Dead by Edgar Wright combined horror and humor while paying homage to Romero's films. It follows a group of friends attempting to survive a zombie apocalypse in suburban London. And it has a lot of the zombie tropes with sort of a bit of a satirical look at everyday life. I thought this movie was hilarious.
Dude, what?
They end up in the bar, the pub.
But
yeah.
They're such losers. They don't even know, like, the world's breaking down, you know? And like, you know, before they even know what's happening, there's like that woman or whatever. And they're like, oh, hush, shut up, will you?
Yes.
They don't even know it's a zombie.
We need
it's
to
ridiculous.
rewatch that movie.
It's so funny.
Then we have the Resident Evil series based on a popular video game. The Resident Evil film franchise brought zombies into the world of blockbuster action films. The series mixed zombies with other mutated creatures and centered around a viral outbreak caused by a sinister corporation, which further pushed that virus as zombie origin story into the mainstream. Now, I will admit, Dylan, I've never, ever, ever, ever seen a Resident Evil film.
You've never seen one?
No? Should we watch it?
Well,
I've never seen one.
Dude, they've made like freaking a bajillion of them by now.
I know.
But the first few, pretty good.
I've never seen them, and I'll tell you why. I'm not a video game person.
Yeah.
So anything that's like video game, comic book, it just kind of immediately turns me off. And I never truly knew what the Resident Evil, I didn't really know what it was all about.
No,
I knew it was some kind of creature thing.
Right. It's,
so I just immediately was turned off by
the Umbrella Corporation.
Okay.
Has released whatever's, I think the T cell or the T virus or something. But I mean, it's one of these more modern day traditional tropes of societal breakdown, you know, and the pockets of people still surviving and all that. But it's good, and I definitely think it's one of those you don't have to know anything or have ever played the game.
Okay.
To enjoy the movie.
Well,
the first few are pretty
it out.
Damn good.
Now they have what's her name, Mila
Jovovich.
She's in it, right?
Yeah, she's in it.
I always thought she was hot.
She was hot.
She's hot. She's a
pretty
beautiful
hot.
Woman.
She's yeah.
Okay, Dylan.
No,
we'll look at her together.
Well, look here. Not only is she cute, she's a really great action lead. I always thought she did a really good job. It was almost before they, you know, back in the day.
Well, I think they didn't have a lot of kick-ass female leads in these types of movies.
No.
But you know, what's always been cool about science fiction is that science fiction has, in a way that other genres have not, embraced like the strong female lead.
Yeah.
Like Ripley. You got Jane Fonda and Barbarella. I mean, there's a lot of movies that are sci-fi with a strong female lead. So for that to kind of bleed over into, it's got a little bit of a science fiction element, but you also have that action and horror combined. It's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and that's like the Silent Hill movies. I think that's what makes them kind of interesting. But no, science fiction, even long before, you know, in the written science fiction books, have been very progressive for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I took a class in college that was like feminism and science fiction.
Yeah.
And it was pretty kick-ass.
I mean, you can find really old, you know, books from, you know, the 20s, 30s, whatever, where the, you know, intergalactic president's a female. You know what I'm saying? Long before people would ever contemplate letting, you know, in real life, having an intergalactic female president.
So then we get zombies on television kind of after this explosion in the 2000s of zombie films. We get the long form storytelling, which brings us to The Walking Dead, premiered in 2010. Seems like it's probably still going. I don't even know.
Dude, now they got
the never ending story.
They have multiple spin-off series now.
Yeah, we're going to talk about one of the spinoffs, but The Walking Dead is based on the comic book series by Robert Kirkman, The Walking Dead. It became a cultural phenomenon and probably one of the most watched television shows in history. The show follows a group of survivors navigating a world overrun by zombies, and you said before they're called walkers. Its long-form narrative allowed for deeper exploration of themes, morality, leadership, survival, and the collapse of civilization. Of course, these zombies on the show are more traditional. They're slow, And the real focus often is the interpersonal drama between the survivors. And again, how humans face disaster. And you get like the changes in relationships. And then you get like
the loss,
and then the fucking breakdown, and how people become horrible monsters, cannibals, killers, just absolutely depraved.
Well, it's just a strong survive. I mean, it's almost like it takes us back to a more primal setting as far as humans. If I'm stronger than you, I'm going to take what you got if it helps me live. I mean, you know, it's the rules of the, you know, tundra, or, you know, the Serengeti or whatever, you know, it's nature.
Only the strong survive.
Yeah. It's like that movie.
Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah. Dum.
Okay.
Dum, dum, dum.
I liked The Walking Dead. I did watch several seasons, but after a while, it just kind of got to be like a little too much, or just sort of drone. I don't know.
Look,
I kind of just got over it after a while, and then quit watching it.
I felt the same. I was when I first heard about it,
I was fucking into it.
I was like, okay, that sounds awesome, but I thought to myself, it'll be like one and done. It'll never, you know, make it. And it exploded. I mean, people just lost their mind.
Dude, I've had a group of friends, like coworkers, and we had like a weekly Walking Dead watch party.
Dude, it was like Game of Thrones.
It would rotate around to, like, it would be at my house or my friend Caroline's house, and we would snacks and you know, be all into it. And it was
talking
like
about what happened last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like an ordeal.
It was a really big deal. I would compare it to the Game of Thrones phenomenon. You know, I mean, really. And but it started getting a little long in the tooth.
It did.
And it seemed like they had some. I think they went through a few showrunners, and things really changed. And I don't know. What killed me about it was like you had this great makeup and stuff, and these different, you know, they'd have the Walker kills of the week, you know, and they'd do all these different things and just blow your mind with that. But then, like, they would have a gunfight, and it was like the cheesiest, low budget, you know. It just seemed, I'm like, what's happening here? But yeah, after a few seasons, it got a little long in the tooth, and then of course they killed Carl. Negan killed Carl, and I was like, oh my god, that's not okay. And yeah, I don't know.
I think around the time of Negan is when I quit watching it.
Because
I'll tell you when I quit. It was when they introduced the dude who, did he have a lion?
Yeah, dude,
lion guy?
That's the same season there was too many groups.
Yeah, I don't even know what season that was, but that's really when I was just like, I'm done, and just stopped watching it.
That's exactly when it lost me, because you had this.
You kill Glenn.
You kill Glenn, not Carl. Damn, I'm no Walking Dead expert. But yeah, you kill Glenn, all that. And that whole tension between Negan's group and them was pretty intense, right?
It's palpable.
But then I think it's the next season, maybe, they introduced like these 4 or 5 other clans or groups of people.
Like the tire people.
The hill people.
And
then some people are wearing like hockey, you know, baseball catcher stuff. And I'm like, where'd you even find all that stuff at? And this, you know,
they rated a sports.
They had like costumes. They had costumes on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you had the dude with the tiger, and he's like, he's lying to everybody, and he was just like a theater kid. And I mean, it was just, I was like, guys, stop.
It's too, yeah.
It's too bad. And I'm sure people's out there right now
yelling at us like, you're fucking crazy. It's the best show ever. I know people who feel like that. They're dedicated fans.
I thought Fear the Walking Dead brought back the original spirit at first. I caught the first season or 2 of that. But then I've lost track since. Yeah,
well, it debuted in 2015, and it's a companion series to The Walking Dead. It explores more of like the early days of the zombie apocalypse from a different perspective. It shows the collapse of society in real time. Like its predecessor, it focuses heavily on human survival in a post-apocalyptic world. Then some other notable television series include Z Nation, which ran from 2014 to 2018. It's a more action-oriented and often comedic take on the zombie apocalypse.
I watched the season of that, and it's freaking it's pretty good.
It took a lighter, pulpier approach to the genre, which kind of contrasted with the more serious tone of The Walking Dead. And then in 2017, the Santa Clarita Diet.
You love that.
It was
right?
a dark comedy series starring Drew Barrymore. And it followed like the suburban family dealing with the mother's transformation into a zombie who craves human flesh. Yes, it was funny. It has Drew Barrymore, and I love Timothy Olyphant. And I thought it was great.
It was pretty good.
So we get zombies in pop culture quite a bit. And there's a lot of metaphors in these zombie films. They explore a range of topics from social, political, existential themes. Like we mentioned briefly in Romero's Dawn of the Dead, it uses zombies to satirize consumer culture, with the survivors taking refuge in a shopping mall as mindless zombies wander aimlessly through the stores.
It's like muscle memory for them. They're coming back to the mall.
Like 28 Days Later and World War Z. They reflect societal fears about viral outbreaks and the spread of disease, often mirroring real-world concerns about pandemics.
That I rewatched World War Z just kind of half.
Now that's Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah, and there's some, I mean, just over-the-top action sequences in that movie. There's some really crazy scenes, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie.
Now, Dylan, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention published a guide to surviving a zombie apocalypse in May of 2011. And it was really part of a creative public health campaign aimed at preparing the public for emergencies. But it was titled Preparedness 101 Zombie Apocalypse. It was a tongue-in-cheek guide that uses the concept of a zombie outbreak as kind of a fun way to just promote general disaster preparedness. And although it's not a serious scientific document, the guide effectively draws attention to the importance of emergency readiness, which can be applied to a variety of real-world situations, you know, natural disasters, pandemics, other crises. So let's talk a little bit about it, because I think it's funny. I remember when this came out and people were kind of flipping out. They didn't realize, I guess, that it was a joke or...
Yes, War of the Worlds
just kind
all
of
over.
Funny.
Yeah.
I remember, you know, being on Facebook back then and people sharing it and like, oh my God, is the CDC trying to tell us something? You know.
Dude, I seen just the other day someone who had their car done up like a zombie hunter, and it's like a zombie kit or zombie repellent kit inside. They had all these things all over the whole car. It was pretty wild.
Wow. Taking it there, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the CDC's guide capitalized on the popularity of zombies, since they were such a big part of mainstream culture. So they were really trying to capture the public's imagination and make this campaign like a little bit more engaging. And it went viral on social media. As I mentioned, I remember it being all over Facebook back in the day. So that would have been 2011. That feels like 125 years ago.
Is that before Facebook was a dumpster fire?
Yeah.
It was still fun.
I haven't been on Facebook in years.
Well, it used to be fun, dude.
No, it was fun. I don't know what happened.
Gosh.
I'm just sad that we still don't have MySpace.
People start arguing over dumb shit, man. Man, look, MySpace is gone. Or actually, it still exists. Did you know that?
Does it?
Yeah, in some form.
Well, the CDC's Zombie Preparedness Guide emphasized the importance of putting together an emergency kit. So some of the things recommended for this kit, just in case the zombies attack us, Dylan. You need to have water. They say at least 1 gallon per person per day. They say you should have enough for at least 3 days. In a real world scenario, this ensures survival in case the water supply is disrupted. So we need to get some water.
Okay.
Food. You need non-perishable, easy to store food that can last for several days. I'm thinking beans.
Ramen.
My dad will survive an apocalypse. Can I just say that? That man has like a Rubbermaid bin full of fucking beans. Every time he goes to the store, he buys
another bag of beans.
Multiple bags of beans.
Right.
He's probably got 300 bags of beans. Last time we was down there, he was trying to give us beans.
You should have took some of them.
I think we did.
You're not even ready for the zombie stuff.
You need medications, prescription and over-the-counter medications that someone in your household might need. Tools like flashlights, batteries, multi-tools, first aid kits. You need sanitation and hygiene products. Think soap, hand sanitizer, towels, garbage bags. This is essential for staying clean and avoiding disease, which during a zombie apocalypse is pretty important, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure you have some hand sanitizer or Satanizer or whatever you want to call it.
You got to clean those hams. Yeah,
I don't want to be out there touching zombies. You don't want zombie snot on you. You need blankets, sturdy shoes, extra clothing, especially if you have to evacuate.
Sturdy shoes.
You need to make sure you have all of your important documents, a grab-and-go file that has like your, personal ID. You need your insurance, medical records, bank information. And they say you should really store this in some kind of waterproof container.
Oh, my God. I don't have any of this stuff.
I think I do.
You a damn lie. Do you have that stuff? I don't have any of this stuff.
Yeah, I know where it is.
Like, are you going to need your car title when the world breaks down?
Probably. You might have to trade it.
Like, well, we'd let you in and give you some food, but you ain't got your birth certificate.
Look, I need to trade my birth certificate for this.
What the fuck?
I need some moisturizer for my face.
I'm like, I got this Cash App card that is been.
The one thing I can say I would maybe look forward to if society breaks down and we're all just trying to survive is I don't really have to worry about what I look like anymore.
You're stupid.
Like I don't have to moisturize.
You would still because
I don't need to pluck my eyebrows.
I do that for myself. I don't do it for other people.
I don't have to shave.
I don't want to feel.
I'm too busy running around trying to live.
I don't want to be ashy. I don't want to be ashy when all this is happening.
You got to have a first aid kit. You need to think about disinfectants, bandages, basic medical supplies, and then electronics. A preferably hand cranked or battery powered radio, in case there are
battery powered one.
In case there are emergency broadcasts.
Yeah, you need one of them little,
Maybe a solar phone charger.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you should create an emergency plan where you talk about meeting points, like designated spots where family members can reunite.
It's the muster point.
In case they're separated. Emergency contacts, Dylan. You should have several evacuation routes from your home or city in case one path is blocked. You know how sometimes zombie survivors have to make their way out of a dangerous area?
Yeah.
So you need to know several ways to get out of town. And shelter-in-place plans, where you might be safer to stay indoors. So you might want to stockpile your home with supplies.
You don't say nothing about guns?
It doesn't.
I feel like you need guns in this situation.
You need
and lots of bullets.
You need a hatchet or something.
You need some melee weapons. See that? Yeah, that's the general stuff they got. I get it. But you need sharp-edged instruments. You need some bats.
You need some roller skates.
You need some roller. You're going to roller skate around?
Yeah.
Okay. You need some roller skates?
It's how you get somewhere fast.
Oh, you're just like, shh.
You get by the slow zombies.
Oh, okay. Like,
yeah.
I couldn't get her. She's on skates.
They say fast food kills.
Wow, that's a pretty good joke.
But
you would be fast food. Okay.
All right, Dylan, that wraps up our discussion of zombies.
Dude, I want to go watch a classic zombie
I hope
movie.
that kind of, gave you a little more information about zombies, where they came from.
And where they're going next.
Baby.
You see, I know it would only take a matter of weeks if zombies appeared tomorrow for people to start saying, but don't zombies have rights too?
Yes, yes.
That's true, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And be like, oh, if you don't let your daughter date a zombie, you're a livingist.
You're an ableist. That's ableist behavior.
So who cares if his guts are showing? What are you gatekeeping for?
I bet you're not going to go up to that zombie and ask him if he can name 3 Green Day songs because he's wearing that T-shirt.
Oh, well, thank you for that.
Zombies have rights too, Dylan.
That was a nice departure from the death and macabre that we often discuss here on Mountain Murders. And we sure do hope everyone is doing okay out there, doing as good as you can. And yeah.
I'm excited to bring you more like Halloween content heading into the month of October, right?
That's right.
So what a better way to kick it off than talking about the undead brains?
Gosh, you know what? I don't know why, but the fact that they want to eat your brains really weirds me out with the zombies. Like,
well, I have questions. Like, how are you going to crack through the skull to get to the brain?
Yeah.
Right? And then what do you do? Just scoop it out and eat it? Or does it slurp out like soup? How's that work? I don't want nobody slurping my brain.
I feel like I feel like I would be like a delicacy because I got a real big head and I can feed a lot of zombies. Because doesn't that mean I got to have a big brain? Wait a second. Do I just have a regular sized brain and a big head?
You should have a scan.
Or I got a big... I bet my brain's huge, bro.
Well, you can have a scan. They might want to study your head.
I know so much shit.
Do you, though? You might, but you can't remember it.
Well, if I could access it.
If you could actually remember it, Dylan.
My RAM's full. Or my random access memory.
So we need to get you a bigger storage component or something.
You just need the accessors.
We got to hook you up to the cloud, bud.
I wish I was hooked up to the cloud.
Okay. I think that's enough.
All right.
We're going to go. I'm going to go find you a good zombie movie now.
Dude, I might watch one. I might go find a classic.
Don't forget, you can access our Patreon for the cost of a cup of coffee. Instead of buying that pumpkin spice latte, 1 drink a month, you can support us at patreon.com/mountainmurderspodcast. And I will put a link in today's show notes for our merch store. As we are heading into spooky season, you want to get you a cool, groovy shirt to kind of celebrate the upcoming Halloween holiday. You want something that's just really gnarly and people are going to be like, wow, that's a cool ass shirt. Yeah. You got to get your Mountain Murder shirt.
I got to say, a lot of your designs fit right into Halloween themes.
They absolutely
They're
do.
very gothic-y and kind of scary.
Yeah, I think people will like those. So again, show notes, check them out. Dylan, I hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Let's go watch a zombie movie.
Let's do it.
Bye.
Bye.